Ho, 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 Hayley Jefferson. It's December. Happy second day of Advent, calendar chocolate. What a time to be alive. Well, how are you first? Here's me
I'm
getting
good.
carried away.
Good.
Are you okay?
Yeah. All good.
Lush.
Yeah.
Good.
As it's ramping up for the hairdressers, it's quietening down for the educators.
Oh, that's it. We are all going into hibernation. Yeah, that was such a weird thing actually to get my head around, being like, we're really quiet because they're really busy. So
so January's our busy season and December's the quiet one. It's the opposite now.
So we'll be ramping up for that. So I thought if we could talk a little bit about keeping the Christmas spirit in December, because I don't know about you, it's hard. Really hard behind the chair. It was only for me, I was behind the chair 12 years, give or take, and it was only really roughly the last couple of years, that I felt like I did not loathe the Christmas period, like that I didn't feel like I absolutely dreaded it.
Yeah.
What about you?
Too. Well, I was behind the chair for just short of 30 years, and it was only the last couple of years that I managed.
Yeah, okay.
Slow learner, Maddie.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely that. It was only really when I was fully in charge of myself, which I was towards the end of my career, that I really started to implement changes and, stopped hating it quite as much. But I hated Christmas for years. Like, I just hated it. And it took a good few years to really stop that hatred. I would just automatically go, it's Christmas, I hate it, it's going to be horrible.
But
default, as I started to make, it just was become habit that it was always hard and it was always awful, because it was really hard and really awful for a long time, actually. But when I did start making the changes, it still took me a while for my brain to catch up and be like, I don't hate this season anymore. I really had to have a little word with myself and go, it's actually not as hard as it was. So stop saying that. I had to really check my words. But there was also, I think, let's talk about some of the things that were annoying. Like what I found hard. Were either annoying or I found hard when I was not enjoying Christmas behind the chair in the season of I was overbooked, working too many hours and, all the misery. I used to hate it when I'd be there doing the highlights, running late, stressing, not having any food, done nothing for Christmas. And people would go to me, oh, I just love decorating my house for Christmas. I just really enjoy the aspects of it. And I just wanted to stab people with my tail comb and think, I haven't had a wee in hours. I don't know what day it is. I haven't bought any presents. My tree's not up. And I'm sick of hearing about your Hallmark Christmas. Like, I found it made me feel angry and resentful.
Yeah.
And, it's not their fault, but that was the reaction I was having a lot. I was really irritated by other people's joy around Christmas because it was so joyless for me.
Yeah, it's like the holding up a mirror, isn't it? It doesn't feel good. Like, I would hate... I followed a load of my clients on Instagram. I still do, actually. We follow each other, and seeing them being like, I went with the girls for festive afternoon tea, and then we did like bottomless brunch, and I'm just like, good for you.
Yeah, because I think it's like awful as for a lot of people, their jobs are winding down towards Christmas, and hair and beauty is winding up, and so it's so annoying. You're on this opposite schedule, and it's like, for me, if I didn't put my tree up in the first week of December, it didn't go up. I had many a Christmas where I just didn't put one up. I just didn't have the energy left.
I had to stop put mine up in November, and we would normally be like, we don't even have kids, and I was like...
We laugh at people who put their trees up in November.
I know, and then I became one of those people because I was like, December does not exist. It was like the blinders where I was like, nothing can physically go in the month of December, so I have to do it in November.
And also not having my tree up made me feel a bit miserable and a bit like it was like this constant reminder that I didn't have time to put the tree up.
Yeah.
So it was like,
especially if you went into work and in the salon you had your tree up, and in the salon you had all the Christmas stuff, and then you go to your like Scrooge home, which looks exactly as it does every other day of the year.
There's no food in the cupboards. There's no tree up.
Awful.
You're lying down in a dark room. It's a misery fest. And so, all of that. And it just like, I spent a lot of time talking to clients about what they were going to buy people. You know, we would stand there brainstorming like, God, what am I going to get me dad?
Have you got your shopping in yet? That's the biggest question, isn't it?
And it was just like everyone saying, is your tree up, is your shop? No, I haven't done anything. I've just been doing your hair.
No. I know.
That's all I've been doing, squeezing people in and, you know, all of that. And just that last minute panic of shopping, you know, when you're buying your presents in the supermarket because that's all that's open at midnight. Or doing it online, and I don't love buying presents online as it goes.
No, it's not the same, is it? It's like, do you know when you go proper Christmas shopping and like, it was last year, like me and my best mate went to York and we had like all the bags and we had like a hot like apple cidery thing.
Oh,
and
you sound like a rom-com, like a Christmas rom-com.
It was glorious, mine and Nikki's rom-com. But I love that, and I love getting gifts. I love wrapping gifts, but I hated it at Christmas because it was done in literally, I was like wrapping Christmas presents on Christmas morning sometimes because that was like the first moment that I got away from work.
Yeah. And like, you know, again, it was like the decorating the house clients saying, oh, and I've been out foraging for twigs and drying them and berries and putting them on my presents. I was like, piss off. I just thought, who's got time for this?
I don't even have rotten paper in.
It made me feel quite irritated. And it's funny because it's just not their fault. I could have made changes, but I wasn't. I just chose resentfulness and anger instead.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, like Christmas dues in January or Christmas dues in November.
It's not the same,
because
is it?
It's not the same in lots of ways, but also it's like everyone was arguing about who was going to book it. No one booked it, and then there was nowhere to go. Everything was full.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of that.
Totally get that.
You know, loads of stuff like that. But also, I think one of the things that made me really miserable is early in my career, I worked for a big company and it was just company policy that you work 6 days in December and on Christmas week you work 7. And that became standard and I hated it and it made me miserable. And this is what kicked off the I hate Christmas for me. But when I went self-employed, I just thought that was industry standard. I had
you adopted
to do it.
this thing that you hate.
and I carried on doing it more or less for a long time because I just thought that's what you had to do, you know.
It's totally that, isn't it? We see that so much in the industry. I call it like the done thing, where everyone just does what everyone else does or what was inherited from like a past employer or whatever. And we did the same, but what was quite helpful, it must be on the last couple of years when I had a team, is I just said to them, if you want to work the Mondays in December, you can take back those days between Christmas week, and it was just optional. It was like you can do whatever you want. And one of them had family in another country, so wanted to go back home to see them, and it worked really well actually because no one had to save holiday days. No one had to take any sort of time unpaid. It was just
nice
to
do this day.
Yeah, just to have the offer,
and
we all did choose to do that, and having that time off between Christmas and New Year was like so good. Just as like slob time, like just doing literally nothing.
But I was doing 6 weeks in December, 6 days, then 7, and then back in between Christmas and New Year. It just was an absolute misery fest. And consequently, I was always ill in January. I got tonsillitis in January for years.
Isn't it funny that it takes
totally burnt out and miserable?
It takes years to like. It was only when I'd had sciatica for so many years, and I think it's not physio. Was like, is there a particular time? And I was like, January. It's like clockwork.
Yeah,
because you know
I would
your
get,
body
repetitive strain in my wrist every Christmas.
Yeah, it was as soon as you take time off.
That I was doing more because the repetitive strain came in. It didn't have it the rest of the year, but I did. So as if December wasn't miserable enough, I had a splint on.
It's so grim, isn't it? So let's not talk about
grim.
How awful it is all day.
Everyone's in their cars going, yes.
Crying
some
into
people are thinking, I remember that. And some people are living it, you know, and worrying about how their December's going to pan out. And so I suppose we wanted to tell you what it was like for us so that, you know, we lived that. We've not always been 100%. These boundaried humans.
I wish.
You know, we learned the hard way. And so we really do understand what it's like. But we've come up with a lot of ways we were doing things different towards the end of my career. And also I've really improved on that and managed to help the careers of other hairdressers now have better Decembers. And so let's talk solutions. And so
Yeah.
one of the things that I often suggest to salon owners, and it comes up a lot when I teach Manage Your Mood in salons, this for some reason, we do like a brainstorming thing at the end of how things can be improved and what have you. And often it comes up about how we celebrate together as a team. And I sometimes say, why don't you just not have a Christmas party? Because it can sometimes, for some people, it can feel like another job on the pile in December. You're already busy, you're working 6 days, and then you want to have a Christmas party. I don't want to see these people. And so I sometimes suggest to salon owners, why don't you pick another time of year to have a big celebration like the Christmas party, but not? So I'm like, have a summer party, celebrate
Yeah, I love
summer
that.
solstice. When's your anniversary of the salon opening? Celebrate that every year. Make that the big thing where you know, really celebrate together and take it away from the most pressurized season.
That's so
Maybe
smart.
that can be a
Yeah.
thing. I think you can take, you know, be thankful to people at Christmas in different ways, but you don't necessarily all have to go out together naked and all
Yeah,
of
and you
that. And
don't want to be
January can
like
feel a bit
hanging.
deflating.
Yeah.
It's a bit quiet out in Jan, and it can feel a bit like,
Yeah,
you know, I've
that's
been
what
on
I
them
mean. It's
Christmas
like
dues. The moment's past, gang.
yeah, it's not the same. So I think, yeah, that makes sense.
Just
Just
take
take
it
that
out of
out
the
the mix
equation.
and then
Yeah.
have like a Halloween party. Like I love Halloween, like Halloween
Yeah.
parties, like summer
Make Halloween
barbecues,
your big
picnics.
celebration.
Yeah,
All
I
the
love that. I
things,
think
you
that's
know, I
cool.
think there's lots of different ways you can do it, and lots of salons have adopted that and found
Yeah,
that really nice instead of everything being
that's
at the end of the
amazing.
year. Yeah.
I love it. Very smart as always. Because I'm a big old nerd, would look to data to drive decision making. As always, think about what you want. Think about what your team actually want. So, like I said, for example, making that offer of rather than having your poor team like slogging it out right the way through, look at the data and look at what was booked because I'm seeing, I think ever since the pandemic, I've seen a real shift in resourcing and how clients are booking because we do see more people are working from home. We do see people having more flexibility in their hours. So it's not as much the case that, not for everyone anyway, that everyone needs a Saturday, everyone needs an evening. Like I could fill my Mondays in a heartbeat, sometimes
Yeah.
easier than I could a Saturday, because a lot of my
Yeah.
clients would want to have family time, you know, time with the
My
kids or
clients
whatever.
did not want to come on a Saturday unless they had to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not
So
at all.
looking at that and I don't know what you know what you were like sort of for the weeks between, but I found that the appointments that were between Christmas and New Year were just a bit like, well, I'll take them, but they could
Yeah.
have waited. It wasn't even for like I'd be like, oh, you going out New Year's Eve? They're like, no. I'm like, okay, this could have been a week later.
This could have been in a week. Exactly all of
Yeah.
that. And I think it's like, you know, as a salon, you know, there's different ways of working, like how you've talked about it and stuff. But as a freelancer, you've really got to remind yourself sometimes that you're in charge of your own hours. You can literally do
Yeah.
whatever you
Who
want.
knew?
Yeah, I didn't realise that for a long time. But
Yeah.
I think I encourage we talk about this a lot in my membership as we get into around about October. We start talking about this stuff. Look at the diary. What day do you want to finish on? Because it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve is not the automatic day that you finish on. You feel like it is, like it has to be, but it just
Yeah.
doesn't. You can literally finish on the 21st if you want. You can finish, you know, whenever you want. I knew a hairdresser that used to finish on the 14th of December every year and bugger off to Thailand for a month.
We'd love to
And her
see it.
clients knew that she was doing it, and that was fine. Everyone just got in before. And I stopped working Christmas Eve a long time ago because I noticed that people who booked for Christmas Eve were always cancelling it because they were last minute people. It's not what they wanted. They were a bit disorganized. They cancelled on the last minute because they had so much else to do. Their hair had to get left. And I remember going into a salon once when I was working for myself, and I think I had 9 clients in and two turned up. I had 7 cancellations on Christmas Eve, and I thought, I am never doing this again.
Annoying. Yeah.
I'm just not. And so I just think you've really got to have a think about, how do you want your Christmas to be? What's important to you? Do you want a couple of days off before Christmas with your kids and to get your shit together? Have a little lie down so that your mood's a little bit better. You know, I just think all of this, you know, like it doesn't have to be how it's always been. You are in charge of yourself, and it can
it
feel
doesn't have
like
to
you're
be how
not,
it
but
was
we
last
want to
year.
say
Yeah.
you are. Yeah. all of
Yeah,
that.
like I started to do that as I stopped doing hair, is I would finish earlier and earlier. And for me, so like I don't have kids, and I feel personally like Christmas Day is a bit of a blag because it usually involves me driving, and it's because I don't drink, to as many people's houses as I can, and you're just on clock watch. You're like, I've got 10 more minutes, and then I'm off to such a place. And our families are quite like physically spread out, and so my favourite day of the whole Christmas period is Christmas Eve, and me and Aidan have our very cute little traditions, and we go and see It's a Wonderful Life, and it's on at the cinema in town, and we'll go and get dinner. And that for me, I'm like, that's my like Christmas day really. And even just the first, I think I did that maybe like the last 3 years behind the chair, and I was like, oh my God, I can actually just like decompress from work. And then I started to get like, well, I'll take the
Before you've got to
23rd
do
and
the
I'll take the
family thing.
21st.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it gave me, we talk so much about like energy management, and I knew that Christmas Day takes up quite a lot of my energy tokens. So I was like, I have to really replenish those in the days before.
Yeah, got to have enough to go into it.
Yeah, I'm going into this, and that's going to deplete them a lot. So
Yeah.
I was starting to do that, and something else just popped in my head because I wonder if listeners are thinking this when you said about cancellations. Like, I know there's a lot of people who are like, "Oh, take deposits in December." Guys, just take them all of the time, because you don't want to be thinking about implementing a new policy that's only for a month. And if people have booked, I see people booking December's now in like August, and when are you taking the deposits? And I just think, don't let this happen. Don't let yourself have another like Christmas Eve with 6 cancellations. No. Don't let yourself have any day with that many cancellations.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, and
really
back when that happened
yourself.
to me, there was no deposits. I just didn't get paid. But even if I had got paid for it, what just a waste of my time, because I was just sitting around all day. I could have been having a Christmas afternoon tea or lying down in a dark room, whichever seemed more applicable. But I also think this, like, have a start thinking about the between Christmas and New Year thing. Like, I started letting people know that they didn't have to work it. Clients of mine, you don't have to. And they were like, oh, yeah, I could not. It's that thing. It never used to occur to me that I could do what I wanted, because it was just,
you need like a permission giver.
You've always done. Yeah. And I just think permission that you don't have to work between Christmas and New Year. And I'll tell you what, I've never met a hairdresser that regretted booking it off. But I've met a few hairdressers who said, actually, I'm going to do it as a favour to a few people. And when it came round, they were fuming. They wished they'd not done it. Because I think the trouble is, you need a little bit of time to decompress. And when you know you've got to go back in a few days, you don't fully relax. No. And I just think, as a hairdresser, we need certain points in the year where we're allowed to fully relax. And at Christmas, we're so wound up. I think give yourself a real chunk of time. And so let's say you finish a few days before Christmas, and maybe you don't work between Christmas and New Year, and you go back in early Jan, great. But if you do want to work between Christmas and New Year, if that's good for your business, really think about taking off the first week of Jan. Because if you've seen all your clients, who's coming? It's the quietest week of the year for so many people. And it's like, if they've not had their hair done now, they can wait a week. But I just think...
totally that.
Try and get yourself a block of time so that you can really decompress.
I think that's really underrated. And like, obviously I have the pricing calculator, and one of the things that we talk about is how many weeks a year that you work, and it's like horrifying to me how many people are like, well, 50. I don't take blocks. So they're like, well, over a year I might take 50. I was like, well, if you were employed in the UK, you get 5.6 weeks paid holiday. So like, can we start taking some more, and can we take some actual blocks? And I see people don't do it because their price is not right, basically, and they can't afford to have that. They'd spend the week off really, really stressed. So that's really crucial as well, to make sure your business is set up for success in taking that week off, and in the weeks you are working, it's paying for you to have that time off. And you're totally right. Like, there's nothing worse than going, I used to do like one day on like the 27th, because I'd be like, oh, I'll just do that day, and everyone who needs Christmas, New Year. Money. And then I'd be like, work until the 24th. 25th Christmas, it's hectic. Boxing Day, we both have separated families, so there's like a whole other set of family that we have to see. There's like the divorced family crack.
Oh God, yeah.
And then it's the 27th, then I'm back at work, so there's no
down.
There's no time. Yeah,
and
exactly.
The burnout and the cortisol banging around your body, and the stress. It's just so much.
We don't want it, and it makes sense. Sorry, what were you going to say?
No, go on. No, you go.
I was going to say what you were saying about the taking time either in the time off between Christmas and New Year, or taking time off. If you want to do that, take the time off at the beginning in January. Yeah, because if your clients are mainly employed, sometimes they're stretching that payday. You know, you get paid early in December. But again, just look at the numbers. Stop just doing stuff because everyone else does, or you've always done it. If it is quiet, take that first week off and be like, you can literally do nothing, by the way. But also a lot of people do their admin, and they'll plan their like education for the year, or they'll, you know, plan what that next year is going to look like. Yeah, get your ducks in a row. Or if you are busy in January, then maybe do take the Christmas week off. But we are like imploring you.
Go on holiday,
take a chunk.
Some sun.
Go on holiday.
Yeah, whatever your budget allows. Do nothing. You know, or do some admin, do whatever. But like, and I think what's really frustrating is deciding you're going to work early Jan, but then no one's booking in, and you're doing like one person a day too. And it's like you're turning up for work and not being paid. And I've just said to people sometimes, if you want to work, open one day. And when it's
like
full,
at a time,
open another one if you want. But don't open your whole week, turn up at work, and then just be doing a couple. Like, stop it.
No.
Just think, I think early Jan's such a good opportunity to take a break because, and I think sometimes what's happening is if you're doing extra hours in December, that money is really coming from January.
Yeah.
You know, like the more of your clients you do in December, the less you're going to do in January. Yeah. And so, you know, you might earn more money then, but you will probably earn less money then if you're squeezing them all in, all of that stuff. One of my top tips that I've been promoting for a long time now, because I started doing this towards the end of my career, was I used to book myself a cheeky day off in the middle of December.
Ooh, I like
around
this.
About the 15th, 17th, when it's all feeling a bit, this is getting a lot. I just used to book a day off in advance so that I could just have a break, maybe do my Christmas shopping, maybe get the tree up if it's not up by now, maybe lie down in a dark room, maybe go and get my hair done. I don't know, but I just used to book myself a day off to give myself some breathing room because it felt relentless. And I promote this heavily in my membership and when I'm coaching people and stuff. And, you know, recently I did my From Snowed Under to Slaying It webinar that I do every Christmas. And one of the things I talk about is just book yourself a cheeky bit of time off, even if it's an afternoon. But it feels so good. It feels like you're wagging it, playing hooky, whatever you call it where you live. Yeah. It feels so good.
Dollar off, we call it.
It just feels really nice, and it's a really nice way to take care of yourself, you know. But also, if people are going, what about money? You book that day off in December. If you don't want to use it because you're feeling good, it can be this emergency day where then last minute
you're like overflow day. Yeah.
I mean, I've often recommended booking out, keeping a few afternoons back through the month that you can then start putting people in so you don't overbook.
Definitely if you're doing the extra days, like when we were doing Monday to Saturday, when I did that the first year, I was like, we're going to do that. So we knew we were going to work the Mondays, but we didn't make the Mondays available until the rest of the week was full because it was showing as, you know, there was a lot of availability and that worked. It's kind of just like learning from past years and going, this worked, this didn't work.
Try things
That's it, just test stuff out. And Hayley, how many times have you been sat at the Christmas dinner table feeling like a bag of shite because you've got roots, your eyelashes not on, your nails are not on because you just didn't have that time to do that? Yeah,
just like a shell.
Years. Everyone a husk of a human. Everyone else looks mint.
Husk of a human at Christmas dinner. Just awful.
Like prioritize that as well. If that is something that you like and something that makes you feel good, you could even have like a team day if you have a salon and go, right, this will be our like afternoon or something. That could be how you wrap up. I think that might be a really nice way to end, almost like not your Christmas party, but like
finish a day early and do each
get everyone
hair.
Done.
Oh, that's nice.
That could be nice.
Or even do that at the beginning of December. I have actually known some salons do that at the beginning of December or late November, actually. Yeah. Because sometimes that very beginning of December can be a bit sketchy, can't it? Because everyone wants the end. Well, not everyone, but, you know, a lot of people, some people are obsessed.
It can be a funny week,
week. I have my head on in November. I'm like, bye.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
I don't want to be anywhere near a salon in December if I can help it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, and it's like that cheeky day off that you might have booked. Get a massage on it. Do something to look after yourself. You know, your body's probably going to hurt.
Definitely.
I did something towards the towards the end of my career. I started to notice that I didn't want to socialise on the last week of December. So what I would do enthusiastically in November and October was book things like theatre trips on December 18th.
All like festive girl
shall we
stuff,
all go and watch something lovely?
Yeah.
It felt like a chore. When it arrived, it felt like a job.
Like a task.
It felt like going doing another set of highlights. I just thought, no, I can't. And I used to always cancel it. And I just thought, I'm just going to not. Eventually I learned, and I just thought, I don't socialise on Christmas week when I'm working. I just don't. And it was because if I used that last bit of my social battery up, I would go into Christmas with the family in a mood because it had gone. The battery was gone. I was empty. And so how I just kept that going a little bit was I chose not to do that. And to be honest, I was talked out. I'd been talking all day. I wasn't missing it particularly. But I was making sure that I was getting social time with people I liked over Christmas in January. But I just started doing that anyway. And being, I used to say I'm going to be a misery Christmas week, but it actually stopped me being a misery.
Yeah, that's it.
You know, I think
it's a bit like, it's like teachers in term time. Do you know, like if you have teacher friends, they're like, do not text me, do not invite me to anything. But then at half term, they'll just like emerge.
Oh, they're out. In summer holidays, they're out.
Yeah, it's like our term time, isn't it? You just go, I am not to be contacted. I am not to be invited. Don't even invite me because I'll be sad about it if I can't go.
Certain times of year where teachers
I'll see you in January.
Not available, isn't there, for sure?
Yeah,
all
that's
of
us,
this.
The hairdresser version.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, we always talk about it, though. Do your future self a solid. So if you know if you're thinking this year, well, too late, I've booked myself right until that time, can you make it so you can get your presents early and get those wrapped and get the tree up and do things in advance as best you can, rather than going, shit, I have to be wrapping presents on Christmas morning. Like, what can you do now to just give yourself that favour as it comes nearer?
I think as hairdressers, we really need to start thinking about these things in October. In October, definitely. You've got to start thinking about looking after yourself, because once you let it get past that, you know, a lot of us are fully booked.
You're in it.
I was fully booked by October. And so it's funny, in my membership, I'm talking to them at like early October is when I start talking about Christmas, because you've still got a chance to make some changes at that point, most people. But if you let it get beyond that, I think really not. And it is, you know, I used to buy my presents in October, November, because, well, it just felt less stressful because I knew I had them.
Yeah.
You know,
and just one less thing to think about, isn't it, near the time?
Yeah,
that's the point, isn't
all
it?
of this stuff. I think this is one thing I do in my membership, and we're doing it for a couple of years now. I love it so much, because my membership's been going for a couple of years now, and I started doing this in the first year. Every October, in my monthly meeting with my members, we go, right, what's your plan for Christmas? What day are you going to finish? And people are like, oh, and everyone gets the calendars out and goes, oh, actually, the last Saturday before Christmas is the 20th. I might just have that one as my last day, and stuff like this. And it's like, new people are like, oh, are you allowed to do that? And so I sort of go, when you're going to finish? Are you going to book a cheeky day off? Are you going to do any extra days? When are you going to do that? And we start planning all of this. And then in January, we do a reflection. What worked? What didn't? What are you going to do next year? And what is so beautiful to me is people who've been working for me a long time really lead the way, and they give permission to the newer people going, honestly, do it. I did it. And it's like seeing these other people finishing on the 20th and 21st makes the new people go, I'm allowed to do that. And there's so many of my members now who, when I say what you're doing, you know, when I'm making reels through Christmas about how stressed you can be, they're all commenting going, I'm not stressed. I'm not stressed. And I love it so much to see that it works. And I like to see them give permission to other people. And I just love that so many of my members, they're not stressed at Christmas anymore. There's tons of chat in my membership of people going, I'm having the best Christmas ever. This is not shit.
It's so lovely. And that's,
And I
and
just
just to
love it.
wrap that up, like when you can get to that point, that's for me when I stopped hating this period, when I was actually like having like like a Sunday off and having a midweek day, or like having after like keeping free certain afternoons and finishing earlier. I was like, oh, I didn't actually hate Christmas. I just hated that I'd created this really shit
Yeah.
situation of my own creation. And like since then, I love the festive stuff. I love obviously the festive food, the Christmas markets, like the cinema stuff. So I think we can, back to our beginning point of like, you can think that you hate it, and I bet if you said to a lot of hair and beauty people, do you like Christmas? They'd be like, no, because it's just like you say, it's like locked in. It's a really stressful time, but you can. There is hope for a Christmas miracle.
Yeah, and keeping your
but we have to do it
spirit
ourselves.
up,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
making sure that you're enjoying the things. If you like Christmas, like plenty of people don't, but
some
like
don't, that's
if
fine.
you do, if you're someone who would like it, given half a chance, find little pockets to create that. For sure.
Definitely that.
I'm going to do a shameless plug for my membership, Maddie.
Oh, go for it. Yeah, why not?
We've been talking about my membership here and, how we work on this stuff. And if you're listening to this thinking, I need a bit of that, you can join my membership. There'll be a link in the show notes. There's a link on my Instagram. But come and join us, Come and join us, and
They're just lush.
you'll be surrounded by people who are having good Christmases that we can learn from. And, this is the time of year that we're doing all of that. So
and Hayley will be the Santa Claus.
Yes.
She'll make your wishes come true. I love it. Yeah, let's sling that in the show notes. Should we do a little hyper focus then? A little ho 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 hyper focus.
Ho ho Christmas. Well, I'll tell you something, Maddie.
Not
go on,
Christmas
you do yours.
themed, by the way.
Oh, go on, do yours.
Not Christmas themed at all. But we talk about makeup. We're on this eternal hunt for the correct makeup and whatever.
Yep.
And I did get, so I'm obviously an early bird to go to the gym, and I'll tell you what, you really know what you look like at 5 o'clock in the morning, and it's not always the best version of yourself. And I get really, I just look very tired, is what I'll say, because probably I'm tired. And I did get, I can't even remember what it is now, but like an under eye, like a concealer thing. It was really good. But I've been testing some out because it runs out really quick. So
I've got a good one that runs out quick. What's yours that runs out quick?
Do you know what? I don't have it to hand. It's in I wish I could remember. Black tiny little circle. It's got a mirror in. With a bee. Who's a bee? Bobby Brown. Is that a thing? Maybe. I don't know. But it's really good, and it's like a kind of creamy texture. It doesn't like go weird or anything. But I went on the hunt, and I only use TikTok to search for stuff. I just can't bear to be on it, as we know. And I was looking for under eye stuff or concealer, whatever, brightener. And I found Vive, which is Jimmy Genevieve, if you're familiar. She's like a beauty influencer. She's Scottish. She's just, do you know when you've like witnessed someone just become like massive? And she just seems like a really good egg. She's like tattooed, quite like alternative, lovely Scottish accent, makeup artist, and now has her own range.
Going
and it's
to need
so it's VIEVE, and it's, if you're watching on the YouTube, you'll see my juicy lips. I'll do the Instagram thing. Look, the thing, Vive. There you go. I'm learning.
I'll have a little
and
look.
This is called Lip Dew, but it's like a nice sort of peachy colour, but it's like really translucent. But they do quite a lot of nice autumny colours. So they had like a blush that was really nice. It was a bit more sort of corally than too like pinky. So
what happened to you under eye concealer? We've moved on to lips.
That's it. So I got one from there, but I thought in for a penny, in for a pound. While I'm getting my concealer, I'll get some lip stuff and I'll get some blush as well. And it's lovely. It's really, really nice, and I feel good because I feel like I'm supporting Jamie, and I think she's done a great job. Well done, Jamie Genevieve. But yes, I can recommend. And normally I feel weird with lip gloss on. It's like sensory stuff, but I really like hers. And it's nice for our
rocking lip gloss today, Maddie, as well. And I never wear lip gloss.
What year is this, Hayley? How old are we? 12.
But I thought I might go nudie with the lipstick like the kids, with the lip gloss like the kids. My under eye concealer that I think is amazing, I've just bought it, but I feel like it's only going to last not very long, is the Trini one. The Trini under eye one is, I think it's magic. It's brilliant. And I got matched up in the shop because I've discovered everything I've been wearing is a bit too pale. And I got matched, and it's just brilliant. And I really like it, but I feel like it doesn't last very well.
This is the problem, isn't it? I'm just having a little look now. So,
It's not a
okay, is it called Eye
fortune,
to
though.
Eye?
The
Oh no,
Trini
that's like
one.
an eyeshadow. Yeah, I'm on the Trini.
I don't know. It's in a silver tube.
Right, okay,
It's
let me leave
good.
this
I
with
mean,
me.
it's
I'll have a little
brilliant.
look.
Like, it is literally the
Yeah.
best under eye thing I've ever had. So I probably will continue to buy it.
Okay.
But I
well, we can
feel
keep
like it's
ourselves
going to run out
updated
a
on
little
this.
bit longer. So my hyper focus, really, right. So I don't know if you know this about me, Maddie, and I think it's an overhang actually from the hating of Christmas, but I get very enthusiastic about Christmas biannually. And
Oh, I do know
year,
this about you.
yeah.
Okay.
And
Which one are we up to?
Oh, it's an off year.
Oh,
We're on an
bad
off year.
Christmas.
Last year was
Okay.
an on year, and this year is, so technically would be an off year. And I would like this
Right.
biannualness to go away. So I'm thinking about I'm trying to get hyper focused on the Christmas
Okay, I
spirit.
see. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So
Ah,
one of the
nice.
things, yeah, you see what I'm doing. So I
Yeah, I
was
see what you've
thinking,
done there.
I might throw myself fully into it. You know, I like how a lot of I follow a lot of people on Instagram who do things like about homes, you know, it's like decorating and stuff. But often around Christmas, they move into wrapping and Christmas ice. What's the word I want here? Ice cubes, you know, all that kind of crap.
Yeah, okay.
You know, decorating and wrapping fancily and Christmas decks
Yeah.
and all that. And I thought, oh, I might get into that. So I'm going to start following people. But I thought this is what it is really. Maybe I might start watching them Hallmark Christmas films just for fun. Like, they're meant to be shit, but like
Yeah, they are, but
easy on
good
the
shit.
brain.
Yeah.
And just
It's always
ridiculous.
it's always like
Girl
high
goes back
flying
to a
CEO woman goes back to her hometown, and a lumberjack who was a high school sweetheart. Yeah, man, go
he's
and watch all
recently
that
widowed.
shit. Oh yeah,
He's recently widowed, and now, you know, she's ready to give up the high life and live in a cabin. So I thought, I might start watching a few of those and just try and get into a silly Christmas thing. But I'm also planning on booking a few things with my friends. Like, I like the look of the afternoon Christmas tea thing that you do, and so I'm gonna do some specific Christmas things. I mean, me and a couple of my friends a few years ago started doing some Christmas things specifically because, well, I was a bit miserable about it every other year, and some of them love it. So we used to go to Chatsworth, which is a big house near me that decorates the house every year for Christmas in themes.
Yes, we did
like
a Beamish or whatever, something similar to that.
You know,
yeah, like
so
a big hall.
I'm in an off year, but I'm trying. I'm not sure how it's going yet.
Okay.
It's up in the air. I'm a swing voter for Christmas this year, so I'm going to try and land heavily into the Christmas spirit.
I think you can do it early.
So it's a
Christmas miracle.
I'm going to see how it's going.
You're in what we call the research phase, which is an allowable hyper-focus phase. Yeah.
And is it going to fully take hold like the Jason Bateman hyper-focus did? Which
is there any Jason Bateman Christmas films?
Christmas films. Oh,
is it Jason Bateman or Jason Statham?
No, Jason Bateman.
Oh, I thought that's why I said action films.
No.
I was like, that makes so much more sense for you. I was thinking I didn't have you down as a Statham.
No, not in the slightest. No, Jason Bateman.
Bateman.
Yeah, he's funny.
Oh well, there's the one about the work Christmas party.
Horrible Bosses. They do Horrible Bosses
yeah.
Christmas party. I mean, I've seen it. It's good.
Have you seen? You will have seen it, but have you seen is it just called the Christmas party? Where it's like the work Christmas party, and Jennifer Aniston's his sister, but also owns a company.
That's the one. That's the Horrible Bosses. Maybe that is
no,
that not Horrible Bosses?
No, it's different. Similar cast, but yeah.
Oh, I have seen it.
That's a good Christmas.
It's a good film.
It's a good Christmas that's not very Christmassy film. It's just set at Christmas.
Yeah, like Die Hard.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to hit the Christmas films. And maybe like the Christmas specials.
Yeah, like the Gavin and Stacey.
Christmas special is good.
Yeah.
Gavin and Stacey have got a new episode this Christmas, on Christmas Day.
This is going to be the Christmas that you turn around your biannual hatred of Christmas.
I think this might be.
I'm confident.
We'll see. We'll see in another couple of years if the pattern goes.
We'll check back in next year or the next 3 years and see
how that pans out. Yeah.
Well, I love it, and I'm going to be thinking of all the Jason Bateman films I've seen and probably joining that type of focus shortly.
Yeah, I mean, just hit Arrested Development
Yeah.
and Ozark.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I started that and then didn't get into it. I need to pick that back up.
Why? It's so good. I've
I
watched
don't
it
know.
twice,
Sometimes we
No, I've only watched it
it's
once.
like what
gonna
else
watch it
did
again,
you
though. I'm saving
recommend?
it.
Succession. Started Succession and then just
Why?
never I know. You're like, you're making me hate Christmas.
Come on, Maddie.
I know. It's because we go back to our comfort shows, but I will get back into
I have to be in the zone to get Ozark is like I'm saving it because I need to be in the zone to go into Ozark because it's heavy, it's dark, and there's a few series.
Yeah.
Do
you know you were saying before?
This is the season for watching the big box sets, isn't it, Windsor?
Oh, totally. Do you know when you were saying before a few episodes ago about that there's the podcast and they're talking about episodes? There's one for Sopranos as well, and it's so good because they're talking about like what went on behind the scenes and and all the characters, and obviously the guy's died now, and it's really, there's some really, really funny stuff, and then you go and watch the episode and you're like, I know what's going on. Like it's like a new way to watch something. If you've watched something to death, you then like, I've got new information about this. It's cool.
Yeah, I watched something on Instagram. There's an account called something like Let's Rewatch Girls. Girls, Alina Dunham show.
Yeah.
It's one of my favourites. And they have a podcast where they dissect every episode, which I don't listen to the podcast, but I just watch the reels about it where they're done it. So I mean, I'm going to deep dive back into Girls again soon because
we did that with Line of Duty. There was a podcast associated to that, and it was a cast, and obviously they couldn't say anything, but you were like, it's nice. I like that though. I like to have a new additional way to watch something and think about it again.
Obsessed.
Yeah, we're just obsessive people. Well, it's been a pleasure as always, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, look after yourself, everyone out there in December. Be nice to yourself.
Take care of yourself, gang. Speak to you in a bit.
See you soon. Bye. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments.
Please support those who support us and check out Timely, who we recommend as our favourite booking system for you. New customers can get 50% off their first 3 months with the code COFFEE50.